Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Ultramonth on Galactic Nerd Outpost. And here, we're actually going to talk about a few topics. As what you can tell from the thumbnail and title, one of them is going to be an upcoming video game called Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, which we'll get to that soon. But there's also other news that came around that we'll also be discussing that's recently surfaced around that my buddy Cody tagged me and Aaron in on Facebook, and also wanted to discuss, so we'll throw that in here first. And essentially what that is a very possible crossover between the Marvel heroes and the Ultra Brothers. And Cody, since you're the one who discovered this, say your piece on it.
First off, I want to say, damn, I'm good. I am so good at predicting the future. I now predict I will get $12 billion and rule the world.
Yep, because you actually, I think you said something about this in our Ultra crossover, this podcast episode, correct?
I didn't just say something about it. I said everything about it. I said how, well, in the number I went from 5 to 1, going from bottom to the top, it was number 3 on my list of crossovers I wanted, because as soon as I had originally heard about Marvel making Ultraman comic books, I'm just like, I need a crossover like this in my life, because, like I said, back in the day, whenever Marvel would make comic books about licensed properties, they'd actually go the full mile and integrate them into their main Marvel universe. They did it with Kiss, they did it with Godzilla, they did it with the Shogun Warriors, and they did it with Rom Space Knight. With that one, particularly, setting a lot of the modern stuff that we know about the Marvel Universe as is in motion, like Rogue Rogue was introduced in that story and ended up becoming a good guy in said story, which led to her eventually joining the X-Men. So when I heard about Marvel doing Ultraman comic books, I was thinking of a scenario similar to that playing out. But then I remembered, oh yeah, this is modern Marvel, where they don't play nice like that. So, and sure enough, they only did like separate universe miniseries based around Ultraman. But I was hoping the whole time. Thank you for interrupting me, Aaron. You dipshit.
I didn't mean to.
Why do I not believe you?
He's jerking off while hearing your voice. He thinks it's hot, so excuse him.
No, I'm playing Command and Conquer.
Sure.
Anyways, so I laid out a scenario where Ultraman could be integrated into the main Marvel universe in that same vein as those past licensed characters. I knew that there was a slim chance of it happening, but hey, here's Slim himself with this announcement here.
Yep, and I gotta say, I'm quite hyped for it myself because, granted, Ultraman's already been getting a bigger fan base over time, more and more. You have the Mill Creek Blu-rays and DVDs that's been going on. You have the free streaming services such as Tubi that plays them, the YouTube channel uploading all the new Ultraman on Subadaya. You have so much, and then you also did the Marvel making Ultraman comics in itself already is something that that had build potential for more people joining into the Ultra community. And now that you have a possibility of these crossing over with this official art and all of that, I'm looking forward to it. And honestly, while I'm not a massive MCU stan, I enjoy it. But if I actually kind of hope we can get an American Ultraman movie based on these and bring him into the MCU and do it by James Gunn, because the two people that from America I can see doing Ultraman. is James Gunn and Guillermo del Toro. Why? Because both fit the tone, both are very passionate fans, and both I think could do one really well. Like, though, if you ask me which one I would rather see, a Guillermo del Toro Ultraman or James Gunn, it would be del Toro, considering how well he did Pacific Rim, which took a lot of inspiration from Ultraman. But if we're going at the whole Marvel thing, I would like to see that, and maybe even adapt those old Max Rider comics back in the day. Like that, I know it's unlikely since there's probably a bigger licensing thing that went on since those old Max Rider comics, well, were the early '90s, and I doubt they have those rights. Well, I know they don't have those rights anymore, but maybe they could get them. But either way, I think there is a lot of potential for what can come out of this, especially. Continue.
I was going to say absolutely. Although my one gripe with it is, from what I understand, this is going to be another one of those crossovers where they hop dimensions instead of, just setting them in the same universe. I get why they do that. But it's an explanation for a crossover, plot device for crossovers that's been overused. So I'm just like, why don't you just have it all in the same universe like what they used to do back in the day?
Honestly, I think it could work, considering that Ultraman in general, when it comes to the lore, they all are from this same world called, I forgot what's M78, something.
The Land of Light?
Yeah, the Land of Light. They all come from this world, and essentially they choose a different dimension to protect. So I think in this scenario, it can work. And that would be cool, because if you would have that going on, just think that you would have, since Tsuburaya ties in all their Ultramen together, including Ultraman Powered and Ultraman the Great, an American and Australian Ultraman, you would have it where one of those Ultramen in the universe would be MCU Ultraman. That would be kind of pretty based.
For sure.
JS Pinna said two things. First thing is, this a game where you hyperlize Kaiju from the series or what? We'll discuss that soon. Hybridize, but we'll discuss that soon. But first, we're going to go on about this. And then he said, I think Guillermo del Toro would be a better choice, honestly. He would. Considering
I agree.
Considering what he was able to put in the Pacific Rim, I can't really think of a better person, but I think outside of Del Toro, that would be my next choice.
Construction complete. Reconstruction option.
What, Abyss?
No, it was my game. Sorry.
It's all good. Anyway, you guys anything to say about this crossover, Abyss?
Not really.
Okay, anything else you have to say about Cody before we move on to...
Just one thing. I am worried, since apparently this got leaked, it wasn't supposed to come out. The announcement wasn't supposed to come out this soon. I'm worried that because of this, it got leaked so soon that they might try to pull the plug on it, because, that's happened before, where something that wasn't supposed to go out, and they're just like, well, now we can't do it. Or it was entirely changed or something like that. I just want this to happen, and I want it to be good. No bullshitting around. I want it to come out, want to read it, want to be happy with it.
Same here. But I think it'll come out, because even those leaks like this, there has been times where they have pulled the plug. More often than not, it ends up happening. Like, hell, I think every fucking year, the new Call of Duty gets leaked, but that never stops Activision from putting it out.
That's their moneymaker. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. In most cases, if they see something that's going to make them money, which this certainly would, because you have the Marvel fans that are going to tune in, the Ultraman fans that's going to tune in, and fans of both tuning in just to be curious, just because they're curious, I think they're going to do it anyway. But that's me personally.
Here's hoping.
But unless anybody else has anything to say about this, next we're going to move on is Ultra Kaiju Monster Ranchers trailer. Anything else y'all got to say?
Aaron, you suck.
What?
Nothing, I'm just giving you shit.
Okay, weird flex, but okay.
Okay, time to go. Kaiju Monster Rancher.
He didn't even have it pulled up before the stream, people. This is what we're working with as our fearless leader.
Eat a dick. Okay.
I can't. You took all there was to go around.
Oh, god damn you. Oh,
You walked right into that one.
I did. Okay.
All right.
Okay, first of all, I'll say, I like how when they brought Zeton up, they kind of paid tribute to those old Ultraman intros where you'd have these dark shadows in red when they would kind of show up in this pose. I like how they did that. There is fan service there, and even how they spelled the name. It's very classic Ultra.
Right on.
Another thing I want to point out is when it comes, another thing I like about this farming aspect of the game is it gives it those old Nintendo games I would get as a kid for the Wii, which I think is kind of the point. Like, I haven't played one of those in years. One of them had penguins in it, where you'd have all these fun little innocent party games that would go on, and that seems to be what we're getting here, along with more that we get later. So I dig that.
Cool.
Oh, Dada and Bolton hybrid. Oh boy. Yeah, that crossover of, I like how they have the crossing over Kaiju together thing, because I'm not sure, I'm not sure how many of you guys watch some modern Ultra shows, but it became common to kind of merge Kaiju together, so I like how they're putting this as a gameplay mechanic in the game, where you could just kind of mix them together, paying tribute to that style that you get in a lot of modern Ultra shows. Some that you haven't even seen in a show yet, like Zeton and Gomora. So, like, I've seen Zapandon and Red King and Skull Gamora, which is a Red King and Gomora hybrid. So we're getting something new with this game, while also putting it into a Nintendo-style gameplay mechanic of the hybrid.
I'm just wondering, like, how they're gonna pull that off, because there's like so many Ultramoners that you could combine together. It's just like there's so many different combinations, and it's just like, how do you come up with like forms for all of that shit, you know?
Exactly, but you know what? Since there seems to be so many in this game, and I hope there's no limitations on blending them. I hope you can do that with every single Kaiju and Alien, because that would be incredible.
It really would. But at the same time, it's gotta give like the game programmers or the software developers or whoever's in charge of that shit a massive headache coming up with all that those different kind of combinations to program.
Yeah, definitely. Bandai Namco. Okay, so my thoughts on it is there is a lot of potential. Like I said, I like that little hybrid thing they did with the Kaiju there. I think it's it's enough to capture the spirit on blending the monsters in modern Ultra shows while putting in a fun little gameplay mechanic. Another thing I noticed is maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the gameplay will turn out utterly different when the game is out. But judging by what we're seeing here, they seem to have grabbed Ultraman Fighting Evolution's battle mechanics and put that into the fighting of the game, which is cool because you're getting the fun little traditional, relaxing, innocent Nintendo farming and party. But after you breed them and stuff like that, you put the monsters together to fight, and the fighting, at least from how it starts and from what we're being presented with at the trailer, it's very Ultraman Fighting Evolution-esque. I'm not sure how many of you guys played those games, but those were some really good Ultraman games, and seeing that this game tends to be grabbing elements from that while mixing them in with something new, that's pretty cool. Like, even if you're not into farming type of video games and just want another fighting game, you're kind of getting a blend of that here. You just got to be able to, they're just adding in more. And I've been wanting another Ultraman Fighting Evolution, and that's kind of what we're getting here, just with other stuff added, as I said.
Ultraman.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, Joey, my friend. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, but I don't really play video games. There's always these big developments in video games, but they always end up costing so much. Like, sometimes it's like you have to put a mortgage on your house to afford like the latest console and the latest updates and whatever. So it just kept getting so much and so much that I basically checked out at PS2. Like, the last video game I played when it was new was the Godzilla video game that was on the PS3 and it ported over to the PS4 because, well, Godzilla.
Yeah, I get that, but all I'll say here is you're missing out. Like, for me, video games are a pastime, but for me, I love video games as much as I love television and movies, but that's understandable because they definitely can be pricey, especially these days with games often not coming out as a complete package. But I respect that. What about you, Abyss Kaiser?
Yeah, I'm a gamer, right? I mean, I'm playing Command & Conquer Red Alert, but this game looks kind of interesting.
It does, yes. Like, another thing I like to point out is this is apparently getting an American release too. Granted, the American release, from what I heard, is only digital, so I'm gonna see if we get an Asian release with English subtitles, a lot like Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes, because I like physical copies of my games, movies, and TV shows, because when you buy digital, it doesn't really feel like you own it. You technically do, but you don't feel like it. Like, for example, like, I'm just going to make an example of this. I don't see Amazon Riders ever leaving Amazon Prime because it's an Amazon show. But, so that's not really much, but I'm still going to grab a Blu-ray of that show if it gets released, because even though I'll always have access to it from having an Amazon Prime description, I would rather hold it in my hand because it's much more satisfying. And I learned that definitely from buying Ghost of Tsushima at my local Target for PS5, because it feels much more satisfying when you can hold it. But that being said, the fact that they are localizing it here shows there is enough of a fan base for Ultraman for them to release something in the West for them to profit off of. So that is good news.
Or at least they assume that they have a big enough fan base here.
Yeah, but maybe they looked at how well the toys sell here, how the Mill Creek releases are doing, to the YouTube uploads to the YouTube channel and all that stuff. So it shows that they think there's enough of a market for that to be done. And I'm definitely going to support it. Like, even if the reviews come out shit, I'm going to want to put my money towards it because I want to show my support for the Ultra community, and stuff like that, so we can get more stuff of that here.
Right on. Before we continue, I just want to say one thing to people who do like play video games and can afford to. That's cool. I totally get it. I understand the appeal of video games. For a long time, like I loved playing video games too, but when I saw how much it was costing compared to the income I was making, just sort of refocused all the time I would be playing video games into writing. Hence why that's what I prefer to do. I prefer to spend my free time writing. Although I will say that this video game, this particular game looks interesting to me for a multitude of reasons. One of them being the graphics for it. It kind of looks. It doesn't look like a modern game to me, honestly. It looks like it somewhere between late PS1, early PS2 graphics, or like mobile game graphics. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say late PS1 or PS2, but more of it looks like a Switch game. Like when it comes to Nintendo Switch, this has always been a thing with Nintendo. Well, not always, because the Nintendo 64, its graphics were groundbreaking and stuff like that. But I'd say starting from the Nintendo Wii and upwards, outside of more simplistic art style games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where they can make that look absolutely stunning, everything else, I don't think it's powerful enough to handle, so that's fine. I think the graphics for a type of game on this console are not too bad. It's not the best looking Switch game, but it looks decent. Like, for example, Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes, if you get the PS4 version, there's a slight upgrade, but it's definitely underwhelming, but you can definitely tell that Memory of Heroes was made for the Switch from how the graphics and art style of that game is.
Mm-hmm. I know I haven't been really saying of anything worth shit.
Well, feel free to say your piece, 'cause I'm sure you got something.
Not really.
I knew it. He's just here to troll and make a lot of noise. A lot of useless noise.
Yeah. JS kind of said he's got a point. I mean, the Marvel Netflix shows were Netflix originals, and they got taken off and moved to Disney Plus. Yeah, that is true indeed.
Yeah, I'll also point out that everything that you buy on Prime streaming service is all licensed content, so that could get taken off at any time for whatever reason. So even though you might pay extra for it, you technically bought it, doesn't mean that you actually own it. I mean, I only buy stuff on digital only because, well, I don't have no more room for physical stuff. I'm kind of swamped as is, so I take that risk, but I know that it's a risk that one day all the stuff I bought digitally could be gone for whatever reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and even if it wouldn't, you still don't feel like you own it because it's not physical. You can't touch it. It's almost like having a waifu. You like a digital fucking girlfriend. It's like that. Hey, it's there. She says she loves you. She talks all this sexual shit with you, but she ain't fucking real. She's just
You talking from experience, Joey?
Oh, fuck off. But that's how digital media is to me. It just feels kind of well, it's not worthless. Like, maybe you don't care about actually owning it physically. That's fine. I don't want to alienate anybody who is like that, because that's completely fine if you're more on the digital side. Me personally, I'm a physical media guy, and I'll always be one.
Oh, I love physical media. I love having something that I can touch and put my hands on. Giggity,
That's what she said.
Sounds a lot more like a lot like your meat, eh?
Don't act like you do that too.
Duck, duck. He got you there. But anyways, yeah. I would love to own more physical media, but given my current situation in life, I cannot, so I have to default to digital, even though you could argue there's more risk in that.
There
is. But
I doubt they would actually do something that stupid, though. like just right off the bat.
Yeah.
You got a point. Another thing that is interesting about this game, sorry to like go all over the place, but that's how my autistic mind works.
Oh, trust me, I know how you feel.
Another interesting thing about this game is what you were talking about. It's sort of, it looks like, based on the farming thing you were talking about, a little bit of a more open world kind of format, which I could get into.
Yeah, like it looks like that you are farming the monsters and stuff like this in this massive world, doing all these cute little party games to sort of build them up to doing the fighting that people who grew up playing Ultraman Fighting Evolution could really get their hands on. Like, I know people who aren't big on farming games, but I think they would still, if they like Ultraman Fighting Evolution, they'd be willing to grind through the farming just to get that modern play style.
Well, yeah, because, well, it's always good to have a goal in a game, with layers, from what I understand. And it seems like this game is giving us all that. A goal to reach and layers that you gotta get through to get there.
Exactly. Overall, I think it looks like it has a lot going for it. The graphics, aren't PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, but they're charming. It has a cute little art style for it. Like, I like how they took the one, like, Kinegon. I don't know if you know who that is. Do you know who Kinegon is? Any of you?
Yet.
No.
Kinegon, essentially, he came from Ultra Q. He was this, essentially a greedy little boy who ended up becoming...
Oh, I heard of him.
Yeah, he ended up getting cursed to become a monster, and he has to eat money to survive. Since that was a more human-like monster, it's nice. It's a nice little detail that they're making him the farmer of the game, since it's the closest thing you're gonna get to a human. So you definitely could get something like. So I think that's definitely was a smart choice of Sajin rather than using something like Bolton, which I'm glad they didn't, because Bolton's fucking huge, so...
I mean, he can grow his size, though.
That is true. Oh, God. Don't give the internet ideas, Aaron. Don't fucking...
Too late.
It's the internet. It's probably already happened.
That is true. That's fucking true. The internet is cancer. It always has, and it always...
The internet is basically just one giant wasteland of fuckery.
Yes, it is. It is. That's why you need to be careful for what you look on, because holy fuck.
But like most wastelands, at least in movies and TV shows, there's golden nuggets out there that you have to be able to find. Like the little nuggets we have for you right now. Giggity giggity.
All right.
But yeah, it's good news. I'm gonna grab it for sure. I don't really think there's anything else I could say about it. So unless you guys have anything else to add,
no, because I'm completely fucking useless this episode.
Yes, you are.
So what else is new?
Yeah,
I said some good stuff. Shut the fuck up.
I don't shut up. I grow up, and when I look at you, I throw up.
But you guys.
But no, in all seriousness, I do have one thing to say. One thing I would really like is a modern, open world Ultraman game where you play as both an Ultra or a host and go around doing little quests, whether they be involve sneaking into alien bases, stopping giant monster attacks, whatever. I think that the Ultra series could totally support an open world fighting game like that.
So you're saying something like the Batman Arkham games or Spider-Man games, but like in the style of Ultraman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, do that while also using the combat of Ultraman Fighting Evolution, because I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but those Ultraman Fighting Evolution games were the perfect Ultraman game. They looked like an Ultraman game, they played like an Ultraman game, they sounded like an Ultraman game, and they felt like an Ultraman game. Every character felt exactly like you were playing them in a show or movie. So that's something that I dig. And I want them to get... I still want a remaster of those games because they are really good. And the story to Ultraman Fighting Evolution 3 is actually an expansion to the Ultraman universe. So I would like to get a remaster of those with English subtitles because that is what introduced EX Red King. In fact, Ultraman Fighting Evolution 3 has the coolest form of EX Red King since his hands aren't these massive fucking things that don't even open like in the TV shows.
He's spending too much time getting busy.
Yep. God damn it. You're as bad as me.
I'm worse. Who else copy and pasted my fucking humor?
JS Penna said, I know this is an Ultraman vid, but Monsterverse is coming back, motherfuckers. Oh, I know. I'm kind of stoked.
Yeah. What,
We're
did you
all
not expect
aware.
them not to it?
Finish?
I'm sorry.
Either
Weird
ahead.
flex, but okay. But, I said, I mean, did you not expect them not to keep it going? Especially with the whole fucking, what is it? I forget what it was called. Oh, the
Monsterverse hashtag.
No. I forget what it was fucking... Oh, the Hollow Earth. They finally reach into it. They set up a outpost there. Yeah, there's gonna be some wild shit coming out of there.
Yes.
And that's what she said.
And I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of potential they could do with all this Monsterverse stuff. Maybe we'll even get a proper fucking extended cut to Godzilla vs. Kong, where we can actually get a 10 out of 10 movie that Wingard for some reason didn't want to fucking release.
He's an asshole.
Yes. Like, you made a fun movie.
I ain't holding
Wingard.
my breath for that.
But yeah, it's like that. Wingard, you made a fun movie, but you chopped it up.
Mm-hmm.
The only stuff that should be cut is filler or stuff that the story can do without if you want to make something more consumable. What they cut, from what I know of the novel, was stuff that the story could not do without.
From what I understand, like, the reason they cut so much stuff and rearrange the plot a bit is to try to distance the movie from Godzilla King of the Monsters, since that movie didn't do so well, and apparently a lot of people didn't like it. So they're just like, we gotta try and move on and just sweep this under the rug.
I mean, they didn't really do that. I mean, the Ghidorah skull.
Yeah, they fucking heard it. I heard that Zhang Zi's character Chen was actually in it too, but they cut her out, which is stupid because I like not only is she hot, she
You freaking Asian! You're a horn dog for Asian woman. I swear to God.
Damn right.
Thirsty for Asians.
Damn right I am, especially those nude pics of her on the beach. That dude was lucky to be able to kiss her ass and stuff like that. But,
there's pictures of Chen naked.
Yes, there is.
Good night, guys.
But outside of that, you do have a really good character there. Like, there was aspects about her that was left mysterious, a lot like how Ken Watanabe Serizawa was in Godzilla 2014, that King of the Monsters actually explored more of. But the thing is, those mysterious aspects of her and Alan Jonah are left fucking cut in the sequel, and that's fucking stupid. Because King of the Monsters was building up a lot, but GVK was like, nope. And I love GVK, but come on, like, maybe they'll fix all that. Like, maybe they'll explore Alan Jonah and Shin more in those shows, because those characters had a lot of potential. I liked how King of the Monsters built both of them up. I know some people complained about Alan Jonah. Honestly, Alan Jonah, I thought for what he wasn't a bad character, because I think he was intentionally left mysterious in some ways for future sequels. Just the thing is, King of the Monsters done nothing about that, and it's a shit. I mean, Godzilla vs. Kong did nothing about that, but maybe more will happen later. I don't know, but I will say, expect me to get back to the Godzilla and stuff like that reviews when a release date to one of them is somewhat close. Expect that. I look forward to it, because there's a lot of movies, games, and TV shows of Godzilla I want to be able to talk about, and more, everything that connects to Godzilla and stuff like it.
If I may, I gotta say something. I understand people's frustrations with the MonsterVerse, particularly that it's not very good about building the human characters or about doing good world building, and aspects that could be interesting they sweep under the rug to go to scenarios that give you more razzle dazzle spectacle to throw at you. And I like that. I like the big spectacle stuff. That's cool. But I also see why people could be frustrated with the way they're doing the characters and the plots altogether, because I do believe they have not lived up to the full potentials that they could give us, with the exception of Skull Island. I think they did that pretty well. I still like other MonsterVerse movies better than Skull Island, but I will say it's objectively probably the most solid movie out of the MonsterVerse so far. But I still feel that the best Godzilla movie, and probably the best MonsterVerse movie as a whole, is still out there waiting to be made. We just need to find a way to get to it.
It could have been done with King of the Monsters if they actually made the characters a lot better.
I think the characters in King of the Monsters were actually, I'd say, the lead character, Adam Russell, and the Russells were okay characters, I think. But Serizawa, I thought he was a really good character. Chin, for the mystery she had, I thought was a really good character. And Alan Jonah, I think there's more they were wanting to do with him in later movies, so I enjoyed him too. But I think when it came to the three leads, which were the Russells, I'd say they were just okay. Godzilla vs. Kong, the characters could be a lot better if we would get a fucking runtime that would work in its favor. But Wingard wanted to be an asshole. Like,
you're not salty at all, are you, Joey?
Oh, I'm definitely fucking salty. Like, it's like, come on, Wingard. I know you're a Godzilla fan. I have nothing against you personally. You seem like a cool guy. But why the fuck do you not want to release a better version of the movie? That's what pisses me off.
Legit, I think it's just the fact that he's content with being a studio yes man to further his career so that he's financially stable. Because if you look back, Gareth Edwards left when he was supposed to direct all three Godzilla movies in what was to be a Godzilla trilogy. But I think because of the studio/producer pressures he was facing for things that they expected from him after 2014's reception was kind of a little mixed. He's just like, I don't want to deal with this shit. I just want to do my own thing. So y'all do you. I'm going to go back to doing independent small-scale shit.
Yeah, but I will say here, Godzilla vs. Kong is better than Pacific Rim Uprising. Like, I enjoy Pacific Rim Uprising, but there's many things about that movie that's a middle finger. Like, what they did to Mako, like, outside of me loving Mako as a character, you can kill off a character and do it right where it's sad. Like, for example, with the new Scream movie. The new Scream movie wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but how they killed off one of the original characters, I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. It was handled well. It was there for a motivation. There was a lot of drama about it. And they didn't forget about his existence. When it came to Pacific Rim Uprising, while I get they were going for more of humor mixed with action, while the first Pacific Rim was more of a balance between action, drama, and humor. But here's the thing. If you're gonna do dramatic elements, you gotta do them right. Like Kung Fu Hustle, that's an action comedy movie. For the most part, it doesn't take itself seriously, but there is dramatic elements of Kung Fu Hustle sprinkled around, and those dramatic elements were actually very heart-wrenching and sweet, and I thought about them for a while, even if it wasn't the bread and butter of that movie. Uprising tried throwing in dramatic elements, but did it in the most insulting way possible. Had Mako on for a few minutes. Later, she appears again, doesn't really participate much, kills her off. Finn is sad about it for a bit. Then she's never brought up again. Her husband...
Kind of like with Brody's dad in 2014, if you think about it.
Yeah, that too. But... here, I would argue, it is kind of like that, yes. Pacific Rim, but I will say 2014 is a little better than Pacific Rim Uprising.
I think it's miles better, personally.
It is.
That's fair. I think when it comes to Uprising, it's overall, I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10. Like, it's a fun movie, but there's great effects, action, and all that around it. But a lot of the stuff with the stories and story and characters is a fucking insult. I don't care if they wanted to go for more of the traditional blockbuster than what Del Toro brought, but it just wasn't executed that well. I'd say they got a little bit more right than wrong, which is why I can watch it here and there. But overall, it's not that good. I'd put on par with Godzilla 98, to be honest.
Oof. I wouldn't go that far. But here's my thoughts on Pacific Rim Uprising. There is a good movie in their way to get out. So here's what I would have done with it personally. I would have kept Raleigh in it. I would not have killed Mako. And instead of trying to shoehorn in a son for Packard, I'd make him a new character who dropped out of the Jaeger training program, and they want him back because, well, they're short on Jaeger pilots in this new scenario where somehow the aliens got the Kaiju back on Earth, and rather than try to make it like, oh, they were going to Mount Fuji all along, just make it a new strategy. Like, no, this is something new. Oh shit, they're gonna put the Kaiju in Mount Fuji to make it blow up and destroy the world or whatever the hell it was that they were trying to do.
If I remember correctly, they were trying to set a Kaiju off in the Mount Fuji that caused a chain reaction with the Ring of Fire. Basically, turn the world into a fiery hellhole, clean slate, and all that shit. From what I remember, I can't believe I remembered that. That's
it. But my point is, instead of acting like that was their plan all along, just say it's something new because it makes more sense. Because if you look back at the plot of the first movie, it doesn't resemble at all what they're trying to say it was in the second movie.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. J.S. Penna said, I like King of the Monsters, but killing off Serizawa was a bad idea. I disagree, because here's the difference with how King of the Monsters handled Serizawa's death and how Pacific Rim Uprising handled Mako's. Serizawa's death, when they killed him off, there was build up to it, there was a lot of drama going on around it, there was a reason for his death.
It actually made a fucking difference.
Exactly. Well, Mako's death, there's like, oh yeah, this is my non-related sister's dead. Sad. Okay, let's get back into action. That's how it fucking went, and that pissed me off. And King of the Monsters wasn't a drama movie, but that was a dramatic element that was hard-hitting and done well. King of the Pacific Rim Uprising didn't. And that's something that really pisses me off. Like, maybe I'd say I do rank it on the same rating scale as 98. I'd say it is a little bit better than Godzilla 98. But overall, there is a lot of insulting stuff about it.
My stance on Serizawa being killed off for King of the Monsters is, it was tragic. I can see why they do it. It makes enough sense in context. But at the same time, I still feel like there was more that the character could have contributed to the Monsterverse. I still feel like there was more to explore with him, especially since they introduced who was supposed to be his son in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
What was his name? I forgot.
Ren, I think.
Yeah, Ren Serizawa.
Ren. Ren. Shut up, Stimpy.
And that was another thing that pissed me off about GVK is if you outside of the name, you wouldn't know that was his son. And when you actually read the novelization, there is stuff that gives him a motive for why he went that route, but it's not in the fucking movie.
I really need to read that book.
Yeah, it's like there's so much in this fucking novel that they cut out of that movie. That's absolutely fucking insane. Like, I love GVK. I think it's a great movie, but its runtime really does not do it justice. Here's the thing. When you're watching Godzilla vs. Kong, you feel like you're watching a badass action masterpiece, but it's one that's chopped up. It's a chopped up masterpiece that takes it from being a masterpiece to a fun, borderline mess.
I see it more as like a big heavyweight wrestling match.
Understandable. Like, I know it's not anything serious, but if anyone wants to know my stance on what makes a masterpiece, watch that video I made on what makes one. I think Godzilla vs. Kong, for what it is, if they wouldn't have chopped it up and made it a compilation of what we got, it could have been a blockbuster masterpiece, but it wasn't because they cut too much out. And JS Pinna said, I'm still waiting for that Skull Island anime, damn it. Oh yeah, I am too. Like
I forgot that was even a thing.
I did it.
Honestly, same.
I'm quite hyped for it myself. Honestly, I hope it's as good as Pacific Rim the Black, because as much shit as I talked about Uprising, Pacific Rim the Black, both seasons were really good. They expanded the lore, we get some really good characters, and they bring back the spirit of Pacific Rim, while even bringing in some horror elements into the bunch. So I would like to see something. I would hope that the Skull Island anime manages to keep that heart.
If I could give my two cents, Pacific Rim the Black was excellent. I absolutely loved it. I just wish we could have gotten a third season that would have actually concluded the series on an acceptable and content level. What we got for an ending, I didn't really for, only because I wanted so much more. Shut up, Aaron! And
I'm sorry.
God damn it! And as far as the Kong Skull Island anime goes, I kind of hope that the people that did the Castle anime and that one about Greek mythology, I can't remember the name of it, even though it was pretty good. I hope they get that animation studio for the Kong anime, because that'd be cool. Yes, JS Penna, Season 2 is the final season of Pacific Rim the Black.
I was actually satisfied with the ending, to be honest. Though, if I would have done it, I would have retcon. I wouldn't have cut out Uprising completely. It still counts Uprising. I'm glad it does. But I would have done a few retcons and cut out the things that, the more insulting aspects of Uprising and the Black. A lot like how Evil Dead sequels cut out aspects of their predecessors. That's what I would have done, but that's more of a personal thing for me rather than a legitimate criticism.
Right on.
Anyway, y'all got anything to say about either of the topics we talked about?
Well, I do have one last thing to say. I keep on hearing, well, more so seeing people letting other people's opinions make up their mind on if they're going to see something or not. And I really don't think that you should do that, because for the longest time, I keep seeing so many people that, even though they're my friends and I have respect for them, they shit so much on King of the Monsters. And after a while, I started to just be like, yeah, there are things that they could have done to make it better. But I just watched the movie recently, and while I still think there's some things that could have been better, I was actually rather content with it. I'm like, hey, I'm actually enjoying watching this movie. I'm having fun. So imagine that. I didn't let what no one else said dictate how I felt about a movie that I was watching. So I would encourage everyone else to do the same. Watch something for yourself and make up your own minds, and don't let anyone make it up for you.
I agree. Like, I think when it comes to listening to a review, it's more of if, like, for example, if you're watching a review and you think the points made are good, you can kind of keep that in mind before you check it out. But at the same time, don't let it decide for you, because there's a lot of critics I really like and are overall really good critics that I come out disagreeing with, and that's okay.
I know I've certainly disagreed with you on a few things, even though I thought your reviews are still pretty good.
Exactly.
And other friends of mine who have done either good reviews that I could agree to disagree with, and once or twice they've made reviews I actually thought were kind of shit. I was just like,
yes.
Did you watch the same thing as I did?
Yes, I know. Like, there's sometimes I'll watch it. Like, I won't call the person out because I don't want to be rude over an opinion on art. But some reviews are dog shit. Let's be completely honest.
It's true. There are such things as shit takes.
Yep. It's not a matter of, I agree or disagree with this. It's more of a matter of if that point can be debunked or if you can find common ground with it.
Yeah. Also, sometimes when you do watch a review, you get some nifty behind-the-scenes facts and trivia that you wouldn't have known otherwise. You get a lot of those from guys like Kaiju Noir or the Omni Viewer. Your opinion on their reviews might vary from mine, but I still like getting those behind-the-scenes facts from them that I probably wouldn't have known otherwise.
Don't forget Gojin the Makai Phantom.
Ah, fuck that guy. I don't even like that guy. He owes me $50.
I think he gave you AIDS too. But
He gives everyone AIDS.
But hey, you can't blame him. Aaron gave them to him first. It's the gift.
I gave you Scarlet Rot.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God. But that said, I think that was it, unless you guys have anything else to say.
Aaron hasn't said shit. Why would he say anything now?
Okay. You, Cody?
No, I got nothing. But at least I actually said something.
Okay, I'll say something I didn't like about King of the Monsters right now.
Do it.
Okay.
I felt like I don't know if this is a pacing issue, but I just felt like, you know how they first arrive in Antarctica? And then, like, the terrorist dudes, and I forget his freaking name, we were just talking about him. They were there, the terrorists that were there to awaken Ghidorah, we'll just say that. And how
Jonah?
they just... Yeah, Jonah and all them. And how Monarch shows up later while they're still in the middle of doing it, when they didn't even show that part that they were showing up yet. I don't know, that just threw me off.
Yeah. Understandable. Like, King of the Monsters, I think, could have been a bit longer, but it was nothing crazy.
I don't know if that would be considered a pacing issue, or...
King of Monsters had a few pacing issues, like, for example, some fan service that just come out of nowhere, like the Oxygen Destroyer. But for the most part, I'd say King of the Monsters nearly had the right length, while Godzilla vs. Kong was overly short.
I mean, I'm not saying King of the Monsters is probably my favorite MonsterVerse movie, and in general, one of my favorite Godzilla movies. But if I had to sit here and say,
favorite.
Good for you. My favorite's GMK.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to do the review of Joey whenever he gets to that.
I'm waiting for a close release date for either the Godzilla TV show to come out, the Kong TV show to come out, or something to come out, just so I can...
Well, that's going to be a while then. Good grief.
Well, you gotta, as a content creator, you gotta milk trends. And it's been doing Ultramonth well, as I've been grabbing quite a bit of people, so now I know what to do.
Fair enough, fair enough.
J.S. Pinna said, you guys were busy during Pride Month, I see. Oh yeah, especially Abyss Kaiser. He was out in those parades just out-fucking multiple people. Sucking out the juice in their anal cavity.
He actually did it! God damn it.
God bless you, motherfuckers.
Thank you. But anyway, I think that was it for this episode. Please comment your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed it, please smash that like button harder than Abyss Kaiser will fuck an entire parade of black dudes. Share it around and subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell for notifications.
Just at the show, Joey. Just at the show.
Okay. Dan said, what the fuck? Oh, God. Well, subscribe and make sure to hit that bell for more notifications to keep up to date on all my future content. If you want to see more dumb fuckery like this, check out my social media accounts in alt tech. Also go and subscribe to Abyss Kaiser, and whenever Cody really gets his book finished, go and check that out. That was it. This is Gojin before we end it, I want to say I liked how in this episode we kind of just discussed more than one topic. Like, in all these podcasts, we generally discuss a few topics, but they're more of short little things, with the main thing being the majority of the podcast. But here I like how we just kind of added a bunch of stuff into one episode, and I kind of want to do more of that because it's more fun, and a lot of traditional podcasts do that. So I would like to do more of that in the future.
Ballin'.
This is Gojin the Makai Phantom, leaving the building.